There is a quiet exhaustion many people feel today that they struggle to explain. It isn't physical tiredness. It's deeper than that. You may have slept enough hours. You may have followed your normal routine. You may even appear calm to the people around you, but internally, something feels drained. Your patience feels thinner. Your focus feels scattered. Your spirit feels unusually heavy. And the confusing part is this. You cannot point to one major problem causing it. Instead, it feels like small interactions. Conversations, worries, and expectations have slowly chipped away at your inner peace. Almost like your energy is quietly leaking throughout the day. Most people assume this kind of exhaustion comes from working too hard, but often the real cause is something else. Your energy isn't being stolen. It is being misdirected, overextended, and quietly wasted on things that were never meant to carry that much space in your mind. And if that continues long enough, something important begins to fade. Your clarity, your peace, your spiritual alignment. This morning reflection is about learning something many people discovered too late. Your energy is one of the most sacred resources God has entrusted to you, and protecting it is not selfish. It is wisdom. Most people imagine that only major problems can drain their energy. Serious conflict, financial pressure, life-changing events. But in reality, the most exhausting influences are often the quiet ones. A conversation that leaves you replaying words long after it ended. A criticism that lingers in your mind even when you try to ignore it. An expectation from someone else that you feel pressured to meet. None of these moments seem overwhelming by themselves. But when they accumulate throughout the day, something subtle begins happening. Your attention becomes scattered. Your emotional stability becomes fragile. Your thoughts begin jumping from one concern to another. And without realizing it, you begin carrying the emotional weight of situations that were never yours to hold. You start absorbing other people's frustrations, other people's opinions, other people's worries. And slowly your internal peace becomes crowded with voices that were never meant to guide your life. Energy is not only physical strength, it is also attention, focus, emotion. Every time you replay a negative conversation in your mind, you are giving energy to that moment again. Every time you worry repeatedly about something outside your control, you are investing energy into a situation that cannot benefit from it. Every time you try to manage how everyone perceives you, you are pouring emotional energy into an endless and exhausting task. And over time, this constant outflow leaves your spirit depleted. Not because life is impossible, but because your attention has been scattered across too many unnecessary battles. Some battles belong to you, others do not. Learning to recognize the difference is one of the most important forms of spiritual protection. Some people hesitate to protect their energy because they fear it will make them appear distant or uncaring. They believe kindness requires constant availability, constant agreement, constant emotional involvement. But there is a difference between compassion and overextension. You can care about people without carrying their burdens inside your mind all day. You can listen to someone without absorbing their emotional storm. You can support others while still protecting your peace. Even throughout spiritual teachings, moments of withdrawal and reflection were essential. Quiet places, early mornings, moments of prayer and stillness. Those moments were not escapes from responsibility. They were the restoration that made wise action possible. Because when your spirit is centered, your actions become clearer. When your energy is guarded, your decisions become stronger. And when your mind is not overwhelmed by every external influence, your faith becomes steadier. One of the most powerful realizations a person can have is this: not everything deserves your attention. Yet many people live as if every problem, every opinion, and every emotional situation must be examined, processed, and responded to. The mind becomes busy trying to keep up with everything happening around it. A comment someone made, a situation that might happen tomorrow, a problem that belongs to someone else, a conversation that already ended but continues replaying inside your thoughts. And slowly your mind becomes crowded with unfinished emotional loops. But peace requires something many people struggle to practice: discernment. The ability to ask a simple question: does this truly deserve my energy? Because attention is not infinite, focus is not limitless, and emotional strength can quietly erode when it is distributed across too many directions at once. Learning to choose where your attention goes is not avoidance. It is wisdom. Sometimes the greatest drain on your energy does not come from other people. It comes from the habits your own mind has developed. Replaying conversations repeatedly, imagining negative outcomes before they happen, trying to solve problems that have not even arrived yet, overanalyzing situations that would naturally resolve with time. These patterns feel productive in the moment. The mind believes it is preparing, anticipating, protecting you from disappointment. But in reality, it is quietly exhausting your emotional strength. Your spirit was not designed to constantly simulate worst-case scenarios. It was designed to trust, to act when necessary, and to rest when the moment allows it. When the mind refuses to rest, the soul eventually begins to feel tired. That is why guarding your energy also requires learning when to let thoughts pass instead of chasing them. Another hidden source of exhaustion is emotional absorption. You may walk into a conversation feeling calm, but if the person you speak with carries frustration, worry, or negativity, you can leave that interaction feeling unsettled. Nothing dramatic happened. No conflict occurred. Yet something inside you shifted. This happens because human beings are deeply sensitive to emotional environments. We naturally pick up on tone, mood, and tension. And when this happens repeatedly, you may begin carrying emotional residue from interactions throughout the day. Guarding your energy means learning something subtle but important. You can acknowledge another person's emotions without absorbing them into your own spirit. You can listen with compassion without letting their storm become your storm. You can remain kind while still maintaining internal stability. When your inner peace becomes anchored, external emotions lose the ability to shake your foundation. Every day your energy is flowing somewhere, into conversations, into thoughts, into responsibilities, into worries. The question is not whether your energy will be used. The question is whether it will be used intentionally. When energy is directed toward purpose, growth, and faith, it strengthens your spirit. But when it is scattered across distractions, unnecessary conflicts, and endless mental loops, it weakens your clarity. This is why protecting your energy begins with awareness. Awareness of what you are thinking about. Awareness of what conversations you allow to dominate your mind. Awareness of what emotional situations you continue carrying long after they ended. Once awareness grows, something powerful becomes possible. Choice. And with choice comes the ability to redirect your energy toward things that truly nourish your spirit. One of the quiet realities of modern life is that your attention is constantly being pursued. Conversations want it. News wants it. Social media wants it. Opinions want it. Conflicts want it. Every direction around you seems to be pulling at your focus, asking for a response, an opinion, or emotional involvement. And if you are not careful, your mind can become a place where every external voice is allowed to speak freely. The result is not always obvious at first, but slowly your internal clarity begins fading. You wake up feeling slightly unsettled without knowing why. Your thoughts feel crowded. Your emotional reactions become stronger than they used to be. And the quiet stillness that once helped guide your decisions becomes harder to find. This happens because your spirit was never designed to host every external influence that enters your life. Discernment means recognizing that just because something demands your attention does not mean it deserves a permanent place in your mind. Every person carries within them a kind of inner sanctuary, a quiet space where reflection happens, where your values take shape, where your sense of direction grows stronger. This space is where your spirit finds alignment with God. But like any sacred place, it must be protected. If every frustration, argument, criticism, and fear is allowed to settle there, the sanctuary becomes crowded. The calm environment that once guided your thoughts becomes noisy. And eventually, you may find yourself reacting to life instead of moving through it with clarity. Guarding your energy is not about isolating yourself from the world. It is about deciding what is allowed to remain inside your inner sanctuary. Some conversations should stay outside. Some opinions should pass by without entering your thoughts. Some conflicts should be acknowledged and then released, because not everything deserves to occupy space within the quiet place, where your spirit listens for guidance. There is a misconception that being spiritually grounded means you must absorb every emotional experience around you. But spiritual maturity often looks very different. It looks like calmness when others expect reaction. It looks like patience when others become impatient. It looks like quiet confidence when others are caught in emotional turbulence. These qualities do not appear because a person has no emotions. They appear because that person has learned how to guard their internal environment. They recognize when a situation is beginning to pull them into unnecessary emotional conflict. And instead of feeding that conflict with more energy, they step back. They breathe. They pause. They allow the moment to pass without allowing it to rewrite their internal peace. This type of strength often goes unnoticed by the world, but it transforms the way a person experiences life. Because when your energy remains stable, situations that once felt overwhelming lose much of their power. Many people do not realize how much of their emotional strength they have gradually surrendered. A worry that repeats itself daily, a memory that still stirs frustration, a relationship that constantly drains patience, a habit of overthinking every possible outcome. Each of these quietly pulls energy away from your spirit. And when those small drains accumulate over time, you may begin feeling something that is difficult to describe, a sense of constant internal fatigue. But the good news is this: energy can be reclaimed. The moment you begin choosing what deserves your attention, your energy begins returning. The moment you release situations that no longer serve your peace, your clarity begins strengthening. The moment you stop replaying every frustration in your mind, your spirit begins breathing again. Protecting your energy is not about becoming distant from the world. It is about returning your focus to what truly matters: faith, purpose, peace, and the quiet direction God places inside your heart. When people hear the word boundaries, they often imagine walls, distance, coldness, a refusal to engage with others. But true boundaries are not barriers between you and the world. They are guidelines that protect your internal stability while you continue participating in life. Think of boundaries as quiet decisions you make about what will shape your mind, what will influence your emotions, what will be allowed to linger inside your thoughts. Without these internal guidelines, every situation has equal access to your spirit. Every opinion becomes heavy. Every criticism becomes personal. Every emotional storm around you begins to feel like something you must carry. But when boundaries exist, something changes. You still listen. You still care. You still respond when necessary. Yet you no longer allow every situation to occupy permanent space inside your mind. This is not indifference. It is stewardship. Energy rarely disappears suddenly. It drains quietly through small patterns. You may notice it when a conversation leaves you mentally replaying what was said long after it ended. You may notice it when you feel responsible for solving problems that were never yours to solve. You may notice it when someone else's mood begins shaping your entire emotional state. These are subtle moments, but they reveal something important. Your attention is being pulled away from your center. The moment you recognize this happening, you have an opportunity. You can pause. You can breathe. You can gently return your focus to your own stability. Sometimes protecting your energy simply means refusing to continue an internal conversation that has already ended externally. Sometimes it means acknowledging someone else's frustration without allowing it to settle inside your spirit. And sometimes it means choosing silence instead of engaging in emotional turbulence. Each of these decisions quietly restores your strength. One of the most effective ways to protect your energy is something surprisingly simple: stillness. Moments where you deliberately step away from noise, conversation and mental stimulation, early morning reflection, quiet walks, prayer before the day fully begins. These moments allow your mind to settle and your spirit to realign. Without stillness, the mind becomes reactive. Every notification demands attention. Every new piece of information triggers another thought. But when stillness becomes part of your rhythm, clarity returns. Your thoughts slow down, your breathing deepens, your emotions stabilize, and you begin remembering something essential. Peace is not something the world gives you. Peace is something you protect within yourself. The early hours of the morning carry a quiet power. Before responsibilities accumulate, before the world becomes loud, before the mind fills with distractions. This is the moment where you can decide how your energy will move through the day. You can choose intention instead of reaction, clarity instead of confusion, faith instead of anxiety. Guarding your energy begins with this decision, a decision to protect the quiet place inside your spirit where peace lives. Because when that place remains stable, the events of the day lose their ability to control your emotional state. You move through challenges with calmness. You respond to situations with patience. You remain grounded even when the world around you becomes unsettled. This is the strength that grows when your energy is no longer scattered across every influence around you. Before we begin this prayer, take a slow breath. Let your shoulders relax. Allow your thoughts to slow down. Bring to mind the situations, conversations, or worries that have been draining your energy lately. Do not judge them. Simply acknowledge them. Now let us bring those burdens into prayer. Heavenly Father, as this new morning begins, we come before you seeking clarity, peace, and protection for our minds and spirits. So often we move through our days without realizing how much of our energy has been scattered across worries, conversations, expectations, and situations we cannot control. And before we know it, our hearts feel heavy, our thoughts feel crowded, our spirits feel tired. Lord, today we ask for the wisdom to guard what you have entrusted to us, our attention, our peace, our emotional strength. Help us recognize the moments when our energy is being pulled in directions that lead away from clarity and purpose. Give us the discernment to know which battles truly belong to us and which situations we must release into your hands. Father, teach us the quiet strength of boundaries, the ability to listen without absorbing negativity, the ability to care without carrying burdens that are not ours, the ability to remain calm even when the world around us becomes unsettled. Remind us that protecting our peace is not selfish. It is necessary for living with wisdom. Lord, when our minds begin replaying conversations or worrying about things beyond our control, gently guide our thoughts back toward trust. Help us release the mental loops that keep us stuck in frustration. Replace them with patience. Replace them with perspective. Replace them with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are guiding our lives. Father, restore the energy we have unknowingly given away. Restore the focus we have scattered across too many distractions. Restore the inner stillness that allows us to hear your guidance clearly. Help us walk through today with a calm spirit and a steady mind. Let our thoughts be anchored in truth. Let our emotions remain balanced. Let our actions reflect patience and wisdom. And when difficult situations arise, remind us to pause before reacting, to breathe before responding, to seek understanding instead of being pulled into unnecessary conflict. Lord, place a shield of peace around our hearts and minds. Protect us from influences that disturb our clarity. Protect us from the noise that tries to crowd our thoughts. Protect us from the worries that attempt to steal our focus. Let our spirits remain rooted in faith and trust. Today we choose to guard the energy you have given us. We choose clarity over chaos, peace over reaction, faith over anxiety. Guide us through this day with wisdom and calm strength. Amen. As you continue into your day, remember something simple but powerful. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you possess. Where your attention goes, your spirit follows. And when your energy is protected, your peace becomes stronger than the noise around you. Move through the day with intention. Guard your mind, protect your peace, and allow your spirit to remain centered in faith.